Welcome to our programme. I am Sarah, and today we look beyond the polished silver and grand hallways to discuss the fundamental rights of domestic workers.
Before we begin this deep dive, make sure to join our community to stay informed about the hidden struggles within our modern British society.
Joining us today is Mrs. Catherine, a leading advocate for labour rights, to help us understand why these workers are often forgotten by the law. Thank you, Sarah. It is a privilege to be here to discuss such a critical issue that affects thousands of invisible workers across the UK.
We often assume that labour laws apply to everyone, yet domestic workers often find themselves in a legal grey area, don't they? Many employers treat these individuals as help rather than employees, which leads to the erosion of their basic contractual rights.
Exactly, Sarah. Under British law, they are entitled to a minimum wage and statutory holidays, but these are frequently ignored in private homes.
The isolation of working within a private residence makes it incredibly difficult for these workers to report abuse or unfair treatment.
We need more transparency. No house should be too grand or too private to hide the exploitation of another human being. Tonight, we aim to shine a light on these forgotten rights and demand justice for those who serve our households in silence.
Mrs. Catherine, many workers fear that if they demand a contract, they will be dismissed immediately. How can they protect themselves? This is why our platform exists, to empower you with knowledge. Join us now and never let your rights be overlooked again.
They must understand that even a verbal agreement carries weight in the UK, but a written contract is their strongest shield. We often see cases where the line between living in and working 24/7 becomes dangerously blurred for these women. Being available at all hours is not part of a fair job description. It is a form of confinement that we must challenge. Precisely.
Right.
If they are required to stay at the house, they are technically on duty and must be compensated according to the law.
Yet many influential families believe that providing a room and food justifies paying well below the national minimum wage. Food and shelter are basic necessities, Sarah, not a substitute for the hard-earned money that belongs to the worker.
It is time for our society to realise that domestic labour is not an act of charity by the employer. It is a professional service. The law is clear, but enforcement is weak. We need more inspections and a louder voice for the silent majority.
Catherine, many domestic workers are migrants. They fear that complaining might lead to their visas being cancelled. Is this a real threat? Knowledge is the only way to fight this fear. Share this program now to help a worker find the strength to stand up. Employers often use the overseas domestic worker visa as a leash, but the law actually allows for protection against such abuse. So if they find themselves in a situation of exploitation, what is the first legal step they should take without risking their stay? It is crucial for our audience to know that there are dedicated organisations in Britain that provide anonymous legal support. They should contact the Modern Slavery Helpline. They offer advice in many languages and ensure the workers' safety first. But how do we break the wall of silence surrounding the households where the neighbours suspect something is wrong? Neighbours in these affluent areas often look the other way, thinking it's a private family matter. But abuse is never private. If you see a worker who looks malnourished, withdrawn, or never leaves the house alone, you have a moral duty to report it. We are not just talking about laws, we are talking about human dignity that is being crushed for the sake of household comfort. It is chilling to think that in London's most expensive homes, people are living like prisoners under the guise of employment. If you are watching this and feeling trapped, know that help is just a phone call away. You are not alone in this fight. We have seen cases where passports are locked in safes and the workers are told they will be arrested if they step outside. This is a blatant violation of the Modern Slavery Act. Why do these cases often take so long to reach the courts? Because the evidence is hidden inside private homes, Sarah. Without a witness or an escape, the crime remains invisible. Because the evidence is hidden inside private homes, Sarah. Without a witness or an escape, the crime remains invisible. This is why we must empower the victims to speak. Silence only protects the abuser, never the abused.
When they do escape, the British government provides a national referral mechanism to support their recovery and legal stay.
We must advocate for these systems to be more accessible. No one should be denied justice because of their social status. What role can employment agencies play in ensuring that the domestic workers they place are treated with dignity?
Agencies must conduct regular welfare checks. If they profit from the placement, they must share the responsibility for the workers' safety.
We often hear about live-in staff being denied their own front door keys, effectively making them dependent on their employers for every movement.
This dependency is where the abuse begins. Join our mission today to demand stricter oversight of domestic employment contracts.
Depriving someone of their keys is a form of false imprisonment, Sarah. It's a psychological tactic to make them feel powerless. Depriving someone of their keys is a form of false imprisonment, Sarah. It's a psychological tactic to make them feel powerless.
In a city like London, known for its commitment to human rights, how can such blatant restrictions on freedom still exist? It exists because it is hidden.
Yeah.
The law doesn't enter the bedroom or the kitchen of a private residence without a warrant. This creates a sovereign territory for the employer where they feel they can dictate every aspect of a worker's life. We must break this cycle. Every domestic worker needs to know that their room is their private space, protected by law.
Privacy and dignity are non-negotiable. If a worker is not allowed to lock their own door, their safety is at risk.
We are calling for mandatory legal training for all families who wish to employ live-in domestic staff in the UK. So education is the bridge to justice. Both the employer and the employee must understand the boundaries of the law. As we conclude our discussion, it is clear that justice for domestic workers is not just a legal battle, but a moral one for our entire society.
Do not let this conversation end here. Join our movement and help us advocate for the rights of the invisible workers in our homes.
Change begins with awareness. Every household that treats its staff with dignity sets an example for the rest of the country. We must move beyond the Victorian mindset of masters and servants and embrace a modern era of professional domestic labour.
Mrs. Catherine, thank you for your profound insights and for your tireless work in championing these forgotten rights.
Thank you, Sarah. It is a shared responsibility, and I am glad this platform is leading the charge for change.
To our viewers, remember that the true measure of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable members behind closed doors.
To Mrs. Catherine, your insights today have truly unveiled the hidden layers of our shared British heritage and history. It has been an absolute privilege to discuss these timeless chronicles with such an engaged and thoughtful audience. Understanding our roots is the only way to navigate the complexities of the future with clarity and profound wisdom. Our exploration of these Victorian mysteries has certainly challenged the conventional narratives we have always accepted as truth. To our listeners, we hope this journey through time has sparked a new curiosity. Keep seeking the truth behind the shadows forever.
If you valued this deep dive into our culture, do join our community as we continue uncovering lost legends.
Until we meet again in our next program, stay connected with the echoes of the past. Alana Nagiban.